Hello again. Well, let's talk a little bit about voice over internet protocol. There are a few questions that would be on your exam and several questions in the question pool that deal with this type of communication. Voice over internet protocol, commonly referred to as VoIP. Now, there are several different types of voice over internet protocol, but the two most common ones and the ones that are dealt with the most in the question pool are Echolink and IRLP. Let me write those for you real quick. IRLP, Internet Radio Linking Project. And you'll need to know that. That's one of the questions. What does IRLP stand for? Now, in some of the earlier videos, when we were showing you what is fun about ham radio and different things you can do with it, when we were talking to some folks in Tennessee while I was in New York, we were using Internet Radio Linking Project. So I would key up to a repeater there and punch in a 4-digit node, which was the number of whatever repeater I wanted to connect to, and it would connect those two repeaters using the internet. So the internet was actually transmitting data. So the repeater was taking RF or radio frequency and converting it into internet data, sending it through the internet, and then rebroadcasting it as RF. And we were talking on our radios, our little handy talkies. I don't know if you can see it here. And yet we were using the internet to talk over a very long distance with just a little 5-watt handy-talkie radio. Internet Radio Linking Project. Well, let's talk a little bit about Echolink. You've seen IRLP demonstrated. What about Echolink? Well, Echolink is a little different because Echolink actually allows you to connect up your computer to the radio. So you can use your computer to talk to a repeater. And that's something you can't do with IRLP. IRLP, it's radio to radio, or radio to repeater, however you want to call it there. But with Echolink, you can use your computer. Now, if you look on my computer here, and with your computer, all you need is a headset and a microphone. This is not the best quality microphone, and I do recommend that you look into a good quality one if you plan to do a lot of Echolink work, because the quality of the microphone will make it a little less garbled or whatnot. I'll turn the light off so we don't have too much glare here. But if you can see the screen here, what we've got is Echolink open on the computer. And Echolink showing me here different ways I can find the different nodes. Now, if you look in this list, you'll see some of my favorites. These are repeaters. These are all repeaters, the R's, and this L means it's a linked one. And I won't go into depth on that. If you get into Echolink, you'll need to know that. But what we can do here is we can actually hook up to a repeater from the computer. All I need is a high-speed internet connection. Now let's look here on the local repeater. This is a local repeater that I listen to a lot. And it's coming through on the radio. They're talking on the radio. And I'm picking it up with my antenna on my radio. Now that same repeater is also hooked up to Echolink. So let's say I don't have a radio at my disposal, but I do have a broadband internet connection. Then what I can do is I can connect up and so now I've got the same signal coming through on my computer. And I could actually transmit through my computer. I use the space bar as the push-to-talk button, the PTT button, and I just talk into this microphone. A little bit of a delay between the two, but obviously you can't have both on at the same time because you'll get a loop. You'll get the audio from one going through the microphone of the other, and you'll end up with a major echo and feedback. So you don't want to run both at the same time. But it's a nice way to, sometimes I'll tune into a different frequency on my radio and I'll still be able to listen to this frequency through my computer. So Echolink is really great like that, and you can talk all over the world. Let's mute this. You can talk to Canada, Mexico. I've talked to Canada, I've talked to New Zealand, all over the world on Echolink, and it's really great. And this is free software, but you do have to validate yourself, and you cannot have the software if you're not a licensed amateur radio operator. One of the latest things Echolink has come out with is they do have actually an app for the iPhone, and so now you can with your iPhone talk on Echolink. So if you don't have your radio nearby, using the cellular data signal that the iPhone has, you can actually connect up to a repeater, and you could communicate on that repeater. And that's really convenient. Just remember, all the same rules apply when you're talking on Echolink as if you're talking on a regular radio. You can't no swearing, no cursing. You have to give your call sign every 10 minutes, and at the end of your transmission, all of the FCC Part 97 rules about radio transmission still apply, even when you're on Echolink. And let's just go through a few of the questions that have to do with voice over internet protocol before we end this segment. I'll help you get ready for your exam there. And I hope you've been studying. There's a lot of things we're not covering in these videos, so I hope you're going through the question pool and you're doing your practice tests and see how you're coming along on that. How is information transmitted between stations using Echolink? The internet, either from computer to computer or computer to radio, or radio to computer, repeater to computer, whatever it is. The repeater is hooked up to the internet, the computer is hooked up to the internet, it's being transmitted through the internet. How does we already talked about what the abbreviation IRLP means. And who may operate on the Echolink system? Well, any licensed amateur radio operator. Other people can't. Same rules apply as a regular radio. If you want to do third-party traffic, it's the same rules that apply as if you're going to do third-party traffic on your little 2-meter radio there. And what technology do Echolink and IRLP have in common? They're both voice over internet protocol. And this is not unique to amateur radio. Some people's phone services are VoIP, meaning their phones are running through the internet. Vonage is a VoIP system. What method is used to transfer data by IRLP? Same thing as Echolink, internet. And what does the term IRLP describe? Well, a method of linking between 2 or more amateur stations using the internet. And we could say the same thing for Echolink. Which one of the following allows computer to radio linking for voice transmission? Now this one says grid modulation, Echolink, Amtor, or multiplex. Well, the trick here being computer to radio linking for voice transmissions. Well, Echolink is the only one in there that will do voice transmissions by computer to radio linking. 3 more questions here. What are you listening to if you hear a brief tone and then a station from Russia calling CQ on a 2-meter repeater? Well, they give you a few options here. Ionospheric band opening on VHF. That's unlikely. A prohibited transmission, or an internet linked DX station, or none of these answers are correct. Now, DX means international, means out of country. DX is something not within your country. So if we're talking from Russia to the US, well, that's a DX station. How about an internet linked? Yes, that's the correct answer, because that brief tone that you hear at the beginning is the tone from the linking coming up. So that's the answer to that one. Where might you find a list of active nodes using VoIP? The same place you're going to find your repeaters and all of their PL tones and frequencies. In the back of a repeater directory, there's a section on IRLP repeaters and Echolink repeaters, and it shows the node numbers, it shows what frequency they operate on, it shows the PL tone for that repeater. So you're going to find those node numbers in your repeater directory. When using a portable transceiver, how do you select a specific IRLP node? I'll use the keypad to transmit the IRLP node numbers. Now you have to have a keypad that has a DTMF keypad. That means the DTMF tone, so you can put the numbers in. So that's what you're going to need if you're going to want to do that. And one last fun thing about VoIP is that if you have Google Earth, there's actually a little plugin you can download for Google Earth that will show you all the Echolink and IRLP nodes around the world. And it will show you if they're busy, if they're active, if they're out of service. And you can see them on there, and you can see exactly where they're located, and you can pick one, and you can go for it and have a lot of fun talking to people all over the world using the internet and ham radio.